Nicholas?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Yes, please. I'm okay. How are you doing, everyone? I'm Nicholas from Uganda. Yes, I'm from Kampala, Uganda.
Nicholas, I think we are facing some internet issues. We cannot get you quite clearly. So you could just get to text in the chat box and I will read it out. So if you are facing an internet challenge, just share and I'll read it out. So for the others in the meeting, please feel free to share. Let us know how you are doing so that we can proceed to the next part of the meeting. So feel free to share with us. We would love to hear from you. Feel free to share. Anyone willing to share with us? Just say hi, how you're faring on, and then you're going to proceed. Anyone?
Hello.
Hello, Herbert.
Yes, my name is Herbert. I'm a Ugandan, and I'm so glad to be part of Roads Hub team, and so honored to be part of this family. I have been so much into architectural designs to one extent that I almost changed career to an architect. That I know how to produce the 3Ds, but I'm not an architect by training. So by enrolling for the structural drawing, I know how to do the analysis, that is the manual calculations and all those things. And I expect to translate them into a software. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Herbert, for sharing with us. Someone else, feel free to share. Feel free to share. We love to hear from you. Just say hi, how your day was, and then you're going to proceed.
Hello,
Hello, Musonda. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am well.
That's good to know. My name is Musonda, and I'm joining in from Namibia. I am currently on a road construction project, and I think I've been involved mostly on road construction projects for the past couple of years, and I would just like to refresh myself with the structural side of things, and that is why I decided to enroll for this particular program, because I feel it's going to be good for me to just refresh my mind with the structural analysis and design side of things. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Musonda, for joining us. And it is lovely to hear from you. And we are looking forward to working this journey with you.
So thanks.
Super. So let me get to hear from more people. I've heard from Uganda, I've heard from Namibia. Let me get to hear from more members. Just present your country, tell us how you're doing, where we are getting you from, and then you're going to proceed.
Hi everyone. Good evening. My name is Grace Minor. I'm joining in from Nairobi, Kenya. I am looking forward to learning more on structural analysis. I have interacted with the robot structures a bit, but I want to delve deeper. Yeah, I think that's all. I am mostly dealing with structures right now, and yeah, I look forward for fruitful engagement. Yeah.
Super. Welcome, Grace, to the community, and we are also looking forward to working this journey with you. So please feel free, feel at home, and you are most welcome. So let me get to hear from more members. Just feel free to unmute, share with us, and then you're going to proceed.
Don't know whether anybody's getting me. I'm actually traveling.
Yes, we
Steven
are getting you.
from Uganda. I have been actually in so much in construction, but I would like now to start the journey of structurals that I can now to analyze and design. So I actually expect that we can go through maybe in the first session probably through what we did in class manually. Then we can now go to the software and start working there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sagal, for sharing with us. Someone else, feel free to unmute. Feel free to unmute. The meeting is all is yours, and this is going to be a home for a couple of weeks. So just unmute, share with us, so that we can proceed. Feel free. Feel free. Anyone? Okay, so I'll just open it up for one more person, one last person, and then I'm going to proceed. One more person, please feel free. Who will close the interactive session for us? One more person. Abraham, would you like to say something? Okay.
Hello, Engineer Gatima.
Hello, engineer.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, engineers. Abraham Nyanja, I'm part of Road Sub team. I'm from Uganda. It's a pleasure to have you. You're most welcome. Just feel at home. All is going to be great. So, Engineer Gatima, over to you.
Thank you, engineer, for sharing with us. So with that, I'd like to end the interactive session, and then I'd also like to encourage you, whenever we have the interactive sessions, please always take it up to share. It's it's a portion of our meetings where we give you the opportunity to share with us, so that if you are facing any challenges, if there's something that you would want us to address, so that you can bring it to to our attention. Okay, so don't be the person who shies away or shies off. You stay quiet with a problem that can be solved, or a challenge that we can probably easily assist you overcome. Okay, so don't be that person. Always feel free to share with us, so that we can also make our meetings quite interactive and engaging. Okay, so thank you once again for joining us tonight, and I will now proceed. I'd like to proceed to the next bit of this meeting. So for those who joined us quite late, my name is Gatimo Ithaka. I am part of the Roads Up team, and I'm going to be your host for today's session. So we are gathered here today to furnish you with more information with regards to the robot course. I know for now a good number of you have registered for the course, and there are also some of you who just want to get more information before you get to register, or you just want to understand how the course has been structured. So we are here to do that tonight. Then if you have any questions with regard to the course, after I make my presentation, then I will also give you, I'll give you a few minutes to raise any inquiries, and then we are going to provide you with any clarifications if need be. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and then once I share my screen, please type a 1 if you can see it. Let me know that my screen is visible. Also, if I'm audible, please type a 1. Please type a 1. Let me know that I'm audible and my screen is visible. Super. So we are going to proceed. So we are gathered here for a robot for structures training. And in our structures training, we are looking forward to doing some analysis and design. Okay. So by doing the analysis and design, what we are looking at is one, the structure that you're going to be using. And then number two, we need to understand the actions of the loads that are going to be acting on our structure. And then from the actions, now we would want to understand the effects that those particular loads or actions have on the various elements. So the impact would be the internal forces that will develop in the various members. That is the columns, the beams, the shear forces that would develop arise or that would arise from the loading, the bending moments, and also how we transfer that particular load to the soil. So basically, that's what we are going to be doing. And then once we get to understand those actions and the effects, so we can now go to the reinforcing bit where we ensure that our structure is safe to stand. Okay. And then for reference, we are going to be using a few books such as Mostly, and we are also going to be referring to the Eurocodes for our design. Okay, so what you're looking at this point is the architectural model that you're going to be using. So this is what you're going to be designing. The purpose of having this is to put you in a real life scenario that you would find yourself in. Okay, so my assumption here is that we are all engineers, and we know our role when it comes to the construction. So we know for a structure to stand, it takes a lot of teamwork, one from the client and the architect meeting, so that they can visualize the idea, so that they can come with a concept that they would want to build. Okay, so once the architect and the client have met, they have brought something to life, or they have pictured something. That's where you, as the structural engineer, now comes in. Okay, so once they have that, at this point, they do not know what sizes of columns that they need. They do not know where the beams would be placed. They do not know the required sizes of the slabs and also the reinforcements. They do not know the types of foundation that they would use. Okay, so that is your role to find out. Okay, so it's your role to find out, the sizes of the columns, the orientation, where the beams would be, and also the foundations to ensure that the structure is safe. So for you to do that, you need to do an analysis and then you do the design. But before you do the analysis, you need to just, number one, understand what they want to achieve. And then number two, have a good grasp of the loads that you're going to apply to your structure, because it's going to play a big part on the results that you get. So this structure here, the reason you're working with this is because it is going to give you a good exposure to most of the RC elements that you're going to be required to design. Okay, so this is how it looks like. It's a five-story structure. It has 5 floors, and then it also has a basement floor. Okay, let me see if I can open a section view here. Okay, let me open up a section. So you can see it has a section. It has a basement floor over here. That is a floor that is below the ground. And this floor here is going to be used as a parking lot. And we are going to need to design the foundations or the basement walls themselves, so that to ensure they do not collapse due to the weight of the soil or the soil pressures, and also the water that would be acting on the site. And then because we have a basement floor, then it also makes sense, it makes sense that we would have a ramp. So these are the RC elements that we're going to be designing when we work with this structure. We're going to be doing the normal slabs, that is the solid slabs that are supported by beams. Then we're going to do a hollow pot slabs. We are going to design our beams, our columns, shear walls, the foundations, and the ramp itself. So it's our belief that if we get to take you through the design of this structure in the next 5 weeks, then we are going to put you in a very good position when it comes to structural design. It would be, say, hard for you to get out of the course and then find an element that is an RC element that we did not take you through. Okay, so this is the architectural model. This is what you're going to be designing. So this is how it looks in the, say, in the Revit software. And then this is the software we are going to be working in. Okay, so what you are seeing here in this other software is the architectural bits. These are just walls and the floors, and you can see a few cars and probably the, how do I say this, the sides. And then this is what now, this is what would now, that would now interest you a lot. Okay, this is what should interest you. So in this one is an analytical model that in the software we're going to be using, Robot. So Robot is the software that we are going to be using for analysis and design. So we are going to model everything here from scratch, from the foundations to the floors, to the columns, the beams, the shear walls, and the hollow point slabs as well. Also, we're going to design the staircase in this software. So before I go into talking about the model itself, I'd like to shed some light on this software. I know from the calls that I had with some of you, I got to realize most of you had not been exposed to Robot. Some of you even did not know it exists. So it would just be fair if I shed some light on this software. So Autodesk Robot is a software by Autodesk, and it is a very powerful software. And the reason I'm saying it is quite powerful is because it is not limited to RC structures only. Okay, so this software can be used to design structural buildings such as the one we have here. It can be used to do your bridges because it allows you to model moving loads. You can use it for your culverts. You can use it for your retaining structures, and you can also use it for your steel structures. So if you are looking for a software that would allow you to do everything in one environment, then I'd recommend you take Robot as your software. Okay, and then the other thing that personally I love about Robot is it gives you very, say, reasonable designs and economical designs. So you're not going to find yourself having a design that has a lot of discrepancies with what you'd have if you do your manual design. So you're going to be finding when you design a slab manually or when you design a beam manually, the results that you get would be quite similar to what you're going to be getting from the software. Okay, so that's the thing I love the most about this software, and that's the reason I recommend you to go with it. Okay, so just to go back to the model, these are the elements that you're going to be designing. So you can see we have our shear walls, and then these items here, these are just claddings. And the reason we have these claddings here are because we are going to be doing our wind analysis and loading. So we are going to assume this structure is located somewhere in Kiambu with a given wind speed and terrain conditions, and then you're going to design for that. So for you to design, say, for the wind loads, you need to model your structure in such a way that it would replicate how it would behave in real life. Okay, so if you have this cladding, it means that your horizontal loads would be transmitted to the beams, to the columns and the walls, and then they would be transmitted to the ground, just as they would, as it would be done in real life, where the wind loads would be incident on the walls, and then they are transmitted to the columns and the shear walls, and then to the ground itself. And then apart from that, you're also going to be designing for our gravity loads. And then our gravity loads will include the live loads and the dead loads. So you're going to be assuming the top area is a storage unit where we have a few water tanks so that we can calculate those loads manually and decompose them to the slab. then do our design. And then for the other floors, we are going to be reading the Eurocode and following the loads that they recommend as the floor dead loads and the live loads, right? And then when it comes to the parking area, you're also going to be referring to the Eurocode so that we can get to discuss what class our parking or our parking falls under, so that we can assign it the as a correct live load for our cars. And then for the basement walls, we're also going to load them with the soil pressures that would be arising from the soils that would be as an incident on the walls, and then design for them. And then the last thing that we would need to do is model the foundations. And then when it comes to the foundations, we are going to do quite a few of them. We're going to ensure we model pad foundations. Those are single footings for each column. Then we are going to do our combined foundations. So in scenarios where you are doing your design and then you find that when you try to design pad foundations for columns that are quite close to each other, the footings they end up overlapping due to space issues. They end up overlapping. So you find yourself in a scenario where you may have to use the combined foundations. So we design combined foundations. And then the other footing that we have to do is the strip foundation. This one is a very common type of foundation. It is majorly used to transfer wall loads to the soil. So it's only fair enough we do the strip foundations as well. And then the other foundation we are going to be doing is the mat foundation. The mat foundation is quite common in soils that have, low bearing capacity. Also, if you want to, to minimize the settlement, or settlement is an issue for you, then you'd find yourself in a scenario where you have to design mat foundations. So those are the foundations you're going to be using, and basically that's what you're going to be doing in the entire course. So at this point, someone may wonder what would be the end product of the design. So the end product of doing a design is to get information that would be used in the construction phase of this structure. Okay. So we need two things basically. We need to know the sizes of the various members. We need to know the sizes of the beams that are going to be used. And we also need to know the reinforcement. Okay, so the whole purpose of doing the analysis and the design is to be able to determine the areas of steel required for all the elements, and also to be able to determine the sizes of all the elements. So once you have that information, now you can proceed to do your detailing and then transfer that information to the guys on site so that they can actualize the project. So these will be our key deliverables for this training. Number one, to determine all the areas of steel required, the required member sizes, and then the other important one is to develop a template for our reports. Okay, so whenever you do your design and you're going to be seeking approval from the relevant government bodies, then you'd need to give them a report that shows you actually did your design. So it allows the approval, the engineers who are responsible for approval, to follow through your design and see that from the drawings you are giving them and from your reports that your structure is actually safe to construct. And then if they are satisfied, then they can approve your drawing. So that is going to be the biggest, the biggest deliverable for us, to ensure that by the end of this training, we have a report that you can forward for approval. Okay, then from there, since we now understand what you're going to be doing, I'd like to break it down into a smaller portion, or into a more chewable, information. So I'd like to break it down how we are going to achieve this. So we are good. This course is going to be a 5 weeks course with 3 classes a week. And here is the course plan. So the days of training are going to be Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then all our classes are going to be online, and they are going to be from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. East African time. So our classes usually start. The first week is usually all about installing the software. So next week will be all about installing the software. And then we are also going to start on the theoretical bit of the structural design. So before we jump into the software, I know for most of us, I think someone mentioned that they have not been in the structures side for quite a bit and they would like a refresher. So even before we get the software, it's only fair enough if we got to go through our theory just to refine a bit, get to understand some of the things that we should be looking at, some of the things that we should be looking for. And then once we get to understand the theoretical background of the design, now we can jump into the software. Okay. Remember, the software is just a tool and you are the engineer, so you're responsible for making the decisions. So without having sufficient information with regards to structural design itself as a concept, then the software would not be of much use to you. Okay. The whole purpose of this training is to be able to put you in a situation or in a position where you can make, you can make decisions or knowledgeable decisions on your own. Okay. It's not for you to be reliant on anyone. It's not for you to rely on the software or on the videos. It's for you to be able to think through certain scenarios. Okay. So design usually changes from project to project. Some of the challenges that you're going to face with this particular project are not going to be the same that you're going to face with the second or the third project. So the goal is to train you on how you approach certain scenarios. And then from those scenarios, you can be able to think through and get to decide the best way forward. Okay, so that's what you're going to be doing. So we are going to be going through the theoretical bit, and also after we are done with that, now we can go into the structure or into the software itself and do our design. Okay, so that is that. So we are going to share the notes and the books that you're going to be using for reference in our learning platform. So please allow me to go back to the schedule. So we said we have broken down the whole process into small chewable steps or manageable steps. It would not be fair, to throw you into the deep end on your own. So we are going to be working with you. We are going to be working with you throughout the whole journey. So we have broken down the entire design process into small manageable steps. So just as I said, the first week will all be about getting acquainted with the theory, some of the things that you should, theoretically know. And then now in the second week, we can go to the software. So in the software, we are going to start with the modeling. So you're going to start with modeling the basic elements, the beams, the columns, the floors. And then from there, we are now going to go into the advanced modeling. That is to do your staircase and also to do your basement walls. And then now model the entire structure or generate the entire 5-story structure. All right. Then from there, we are also going to do a bit of modeling checking and error checking just to ensure that our model is, we are going to be checking for the modeling integrity and also show you how you can approach and resolve common errors and warnings that would arise during the modeling phase in design. And then from there, we're going to be doing our loading and combinations. I'm not going to go deeply into this at this point, but you're going to be discussing basically the load pads, the types of loads we expect, some of the considerations that you should take into account. For example, if the structure itself is going to be used as a storage facility during the construction, then that's something you should consider during the design phase. So you don't want to put yourself in a situation where, say, you have your lower floors being used as a storage for the construction materials, the sand, the masonry blocks, the cement, and you are not designed for that. You may find your structure even failing before it gets to be occupied, or even before construction is completed. So those are just some of the that's one of the scenarios you might find yourself in, and it's just proper if you consider it. Then from Wallorian combinations, now we can go to the analysis bits. And then the analysis is majorly getting to understand the say the consequences of the loads that you've exerted on your structure on your members. So the actions would include getting to understand the axial loads, the bending moments, the shear loads, and the stresses that your loads are going to be exerting on your structure. And then now, after you understand those actions or the consequences, now you can proceed to design to ensure that your members are safe against those given actions. So allow me to just share something small here. I'll just demonstrate how the software shows you the axial loads. You don't have to worry about this. We are going to go into it deeper into the course. This is just to show you how it would look. So I've just say filtered out my columns so that I can specifically look at them. You can even go say a step further if you are interested in specific columns. Say if I'm interested in the ground floor columns only, I can even go a step further and select the ground floor columns only. So allow me to do that. So if this is your interest to just have the lower columns only, you can be able to do this. And then you can be able to look at their forces. So if you're interested in the axial loads, because they increase going downwards, so you expect your maximum axial loads to be at the bottom, at the lower columns. So you can just separate them or filter them out and then view their results. Okay. So this is just one of the ways in which you can view your results, get to understand which one is your most loaded column, and then use it for design, either for the columns or for the foundations. So that was just show you how the software does that. And then now I can go back to the course outline. So after we have read the results, understood them, now we are going to go into the design of the various elements. So you're going to start with slabs because they're a bit easier to do. Then you're going to go to beams, then columns, then the shear walls, and then finally the foundations. And then after that, we are going to have a session purely on generating reports, so as to ensure that you are ready, that you are ready to submit your design for approval. And then the beauty of this is that you're not going to be working alone. Even when it comes to generating the report, we are going to be sharing our templates with you. We're going to be sharing all the resources with you so that the learning can be quite easy for you. So we just want you to focus on the learning bit. And then for the resources, everything that you would consider a resource, I don't want you to stress about it. All you have to do is ask, and we are going to provide it. Okay, so that is with regards to the course. And I think I have taken quite some time to share or shed light on it. So I'm going to open the forum to questions. If you have questions with regards to the course structure, please feel free to raise it. And then I'm going to open the link I'm going to give the meeting to someone else from my team who will now focus on the specifications of your laptop so that you are able to install the software itself. Okay, so just feel. Yeah, Stephen, I think I mentioned we're going to design we're going to design the staircase. And yes, the recordings will be shared and you'll have lifetime access to them. And then this is the beauty. You're not going to have the recordings only. So we understand that most of you are very busy people. So if we have a class that is 2 hours long, we know some of you may not be able to rewatch the entire 2 hours plus the following day. So we are going to be giving you the recording, the full recording of the class. And then after every class, you're going to be recording shorter videos, say 10 minutes videos, 15 minutes videos, guiding you through every task so that you have, you have as many resources as you may need. Okay, so I'll go one by one. I'll start with Tom. We are not going to start with still designing this in this module. The reason is we want to go deeper into RC design. And if we introduce or do still in this module, we are not going to do any of the members say any justice. Okay. For the time we have, we're not going to be able to do them justice. So you're going to focus on RC, and then you're going to do still later on or in a future course. Then a robot does not do detailing, but it is well compatible with Revit and AutoCAD. So you can just do your design in robots and then do your detailing in AutoCAD or Revit, whichever you prefer. But I'd recommend at this say age and time for your detailing, just go to Revit. And then the other one will have the installation software installed for. Will you have the software installed for us permanently, or it shall be? No, we are not going to be taking the software from you. Once you have the software, you're going to have access to it. So we are not going to take it back. Okay, so does Revit collaborate with ArchiCAD? Yes, using IFC files. So using IFC files, you can collaborate with Revit and ArchiCAD, but I think you should look into it because it's quite it's quite a complicated, say, lesson to teach. But yes, you can collaborate between ArchiCAD and Revit and many other softwares as well. So we are also not going to do detailing because again, that would take us another 5-6 weeks to do. So we have another course that is purely built for documentation and detailing using Revit. We are going to do retaining walls, and we are not going to do bridges and culverts in this module. Again, we cannot do justice if we had everything in one course. Okay, so the other one is, what is the other question? Yes, as I said earlier, Robot and Revit are interoperable, so you can easily move your models between the two softwares. Okay, so with that, I'd like to welcome Wes, Engineer Wes. Engineer Wes, are you in the meeting? Wesley, engineer?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, it's your turn, please.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I was speaking and my mic was muted. So, thank you. Now that Engineer Gatim has had a chance to take you through the course outline, maybe you're excited, you want to join the program as soon as possible, but it is my job to make sure that you have the right tools before you get to join us. So I'm going to make a small presentation on what you will need to be successful in this program, and you can share any questions with respect to that. Kindly confirm that you can see my screen. Anyone? All right. So for you to be successful at the end of the day, because you can sit through the lectures, but if you don't practice, then everything goes to waste. You need to practice. And for that to happen, you need to have good hardware, good software, and also the communication in between, either the two or with us, so that that is successful. So starting with communication, I assume the fact that we are able to communicate with you right now, and you're able to communicate back to us, your internet connection is good, and that should be sufficient for the training. Or rather, if you're having challenges either to hear us or to get us or to get the screen presented, and then it means you need to work on your internet. So kindly make sure you have your internet well situated. The minimum should be 5 MBs per second, downloads and uploads. But what I'd recommend is between 10 to 15. If you have higher, that's all right. As long as we're able to communicate and you're able to communicate with us and we're able to share your work. Now, the most critical, when it comes to the processor or the hardware that you need for robot is relatively a small software compared to Revit, the cousin. Revit is very huge and very processor intensive when you're doing the normal work as opposed to robot. But they still share the same recommendation or the same requirements, because when you will be doing your analysis is when robot will require lots of processing power. If you have a weak processor, it will take you like 2 hours just to run down the calculation of the building that you've seen. And it gets worse if you have a more complex structure that you're working on. So to be safe, I normally recommend that you make sure that your base clock speed for your processor is at least 2.5, and the generation for that processor should be from the 7th generation coming to the latest, which is the 14th generation. So if you have either the a fifth, fourth, third, or a second, if you have a second, kindly invite me to have a look at it, because those ones should be as per now obsolete. But if you have those, just make sure that the processing power is at least 2.5. If you have an early generation from this 7th generation, or let me give a practical example, like a 10th generation i5, it will tell you that it is 1.6 gigahertz, but it has a turbo boost technology that will enable it to reach the required processing speed when needed. So that won't be a problem. It should be able to assist you run down the cost. But if you're looking to buy a new PC for analysis for future use, kindly I recommend getting a processor that is not less than 3 gigahertz. And this will be an i7 11th generation. From the 11th generation going to the 13th generation, all processors are clocking above 3 gigahertz, and it should be good enough for you to do all these calculations or run all these softwares. If you have this kind of machine, you can run all the softwares, engineering softwares you can dream of, without running into problems or into a hiccup. Now, when it comes to the memory, this is the RAM for you. 8 gigabytes is recommended. Remember, I said when you're running the calculations is when robot is most engaged. And if you have sufficient RAM, it will clearly assist you do the calculations smoothly, as compared to if you have a limited set of RAM. So just make sure that the minimum you have is 8, but if you're looking to purchase a PC in future, make sure you don't get anything less than 32 gigabytes. If you do 64, it's fine. And then coming to the display, I'm not so worried about that. Whatever you have should be sufficient, but the conventional, the 1920 by 1080 should be good enough for you. If you have a 4K display, and then, yeah, it will make everything wonderful. But you don't really need a 4K display. What you need is the 1920 by 1080. That should be good enough for you. For the graphic cards, yes, it normally helps when we're doing the concurrent computations. Let's say when you're running our analysis, just checking, verifying the members if they are correctly defined, the load transfer is correct. Yeah, some of those concurrent calculations can be handled by the GPU, but at this stage, you really don't need it. So if you don't have it, don't stress about it. Just make sure that your processor is good. If your processor is good, you should be good. But if you have it, and I'm saying if you in future you're looking into getting a good PC dedicated for this kind of work, I'll recommend you get an 8 GB GPU to accompany the other components. When it comes to storage, Robot is not as huge as compared to Revit. Revit usually takes around 17 gigs of your storage when you install it. But when it comes to Robot, it will only take 1.5, 1.6. If it goes, maybe if you add some plugins, it will get to 2 gigabytes. That's not much. But here is the caveat. When you start running complex calculations, it will need somewhere to be stored. And for the building that you've just been shown, if you run the computation, you might have a separate file just for the calculations, ranging between 500 megabytes or a half a gig. If you have a more complex structure, you can get even to 2 gigs of worth of computation. So having extra storage will definitely go a long way in helping you manage your storage, and will not be panicking each time to free up your storage. When it comes to the network, don't worry about it. The network license manager, this one will be installed automatically when you install your program. Most importantly, on the hardware, this is something that you shouldn't ignore. A pointing device. Make sure you have a mouse for design. Using that, especially for those having laptops, using the touchpad is usually so stressful. It will make the process more complicated and more difficult than it seems. So just make sure you have a pointing device. It could be wireless or not, but just make sure you have one. If you have a stylus and you can figure your way around it, well and good. Yeah, that's the future, but the minimum you should have is at least a mouse. Now, when it comes to the software, number one, we start with the operating system. Robot was not designed to run on a MacBook environment or an ARC or an ARM processor. I mean, let's say you're having a Snapdragon Elite PC or an macOS, it won't be supported there. So you need to have a Windows PC with you. If you're having a Macintosh or a MacBook, I'll ask that you create a Windows environment. And if you're having a Mac, I definitely know that you know how to do that, or you know someone who can assist you do that. Once you have that environment set up, then you'll be able to run the processor, to run the program on it. For Windows, I'll recommend you make sure you're up to date. Make sure you have either Windows 11 or you have Windows 10. Windows 10 by now should be discontinued. It expired last month, October 25th. So I don't know why you should be having it unless you're having an older model of that doesn't support the Windows 11. That should be the only reason why. But if you're having a model that supports Windows 11, I'd recommend please take time to upgrade. It's free. Take time to upgrade to Windows 11 so that you can run the software. The Net framework, don't worry about that. Once you have your software updated, this will come in automatically. So what we'll be using, we will give you access to the 2025 and the 2026 version of both softwares. But for your case, will be robot structural analysis. But I'll recommend you stick to the 2025 version. It's more stable compared to the 2026. The 2026 still has some bugs that will give you headache during the training. So when the link is shared for the same, kindly just install the 2025 version, and then the rest should be easy. For any other thing, maybe the supporting software should be Revit. If you have Revit, is a bonus. It will help you learn the workflows, how to collaborate within the two softwares, and that shouldn't be a problem from that. I think I'll also share the extension for the same for linking Robot and Revit. You might need it in future. So yeah, that's that. Other than that, I don't think, or I don't think there's something I've left out. I appreciate if you have any questions for me to take before I give the session back to Getimu. Any question, you can unmute and ask. Let me go through the chat box if you have.
For you to be able to successfully run the robot, do you need a graphics card?
No, no, you don't need a graphics card, but if you have it, it's a bonus.
Hello, Wesley.
Yes.
I just wanted to find out. You said you're going to share a link for improving, or what is that? Being able to work between Revit and robot. If I have a Revit 2026 and a robot 2025, is it still fine, or do I need to upgrade the robot to 2026 as well, or downgrade my Revit to 2025?
It will still work, but what I know is the 2026 version of both softwares, the Revit and Robot, they still have some issues, some compatibility issues. So if you can find a way to work around that, you should be good. It's not about the software. It's from Autodesk themselves. The way they configure the software, it still has some issues.
Okay.
Yeah, but you don't need to downgrade or upgrade. If you have either of the software, even if you have the 2020 version, you should be able to communicate between the two softwares and bring the results from one end to the other end.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So I can see we are having some questions. Let me see where to start. Someone asking how long is the license going to last? Okay, the license depends on which kind of license you're having. If you're having a commercial license, it will last as long as you pay for it. And then we have that is the most preferable. People would want a commercial license to do whatever they want with it. It's not restricted to with anything. Then we have the student license. Yes, the student license will allow you. It will allow you to do some of the works. It's not limited in any way in terms of functionality, but they recommend you don't use it for commercial use because they can sue you for that. If you use it for education, you're good. That license lasts about a year, and then you can renew it. As long as you're a student, you can always renew the license. Then the next license available is the trial license, which lasts about 30 days. So that means that any common man on the street can always get to download and try out the software for 30 days. If they like it, they can purchase. If they don't, they discard it. Then we have the next license that we are provided with, where we are allowed to issue licenses to you guys for the training. And then after the training, we take the same license as give the next group. Right? That's why we normally say that if we issue you a temporary license, you won't have it for long. Yes, it has everything. You'll have access to all the architectural and constructions and engineering softwares, but during the time of the training. When the next cohort comes in, you're obligated to get the license from you and allocate it to the next person. And then the last one, but which is not recommended, is the cracked version. Now, the cracked version, now that one is a gray area. You don't know. You don't know how long it will be there. It might work forever, not. When Autodesk decides to upgrade their systems, the license might be out. So you can never vouch for it, but it is there. People are using it. We don't live in a vacuum, and we cannot assume that it doesn't exist, but it's there. But its predictability is not there. So if you're asking me how long the license is going to last, it depends on the variety that I've given you. Which one do you have? So if you have a student license, just know it's going to last for a year and then you renew. So for as long as you're a student, you'll always have access to it. Once you graduate or you exit that learning institution, the license now becomes unavailable to you. If you are in the commercial space and you purchase a license, well, it will last as long as you are paying for it. Once the subscription is terminated, yeah, the license goes. If you're having a trial version, just know you have 30 days. If you're using one account, it will last 30 days. If you switch to another account, another 30 days. Some survive like that. It works for them. And then we have the temporary license that we issue as RoadSub. Yeah, because remember, we are certified Autodesk partners. So the fact that we are partners with them and we're bringing these products to you, we ask them to give us a number of seats that we can allocate to our students. They use it for practice, but once the training is over, we normally give you a buffer of 1 to 2 weeks so that you finish your deliverable. When we're embodying the next cohort, then we'll retrieve the license from you and give it to the next person. And then lastly, if you're having a crack, now I cannot speak for that. It might last 10 years or it might last a month. So it depends on what Autodesk we decide to do with you. And that's my take on that question. Let me see if there's another question. Does Revit similar to AutoCAD? More or less, but I know Engineer Gatima will be able to take you through the differences of those two softwares. What I can say just on the top of that is that Autodesk is more manual. Think of it as driving a manual car, and then Revit is an automatic car. They're more the same, but there are some privileges you get when you're using Revit that you won't get when you're using AutoCAD. Okay, can you guys arrange with EBK for CBT points? Okay, we are working with that on that, not just for GEs, but all professionals. And I know our CEO, Engineer James, is currently working on that to make sure that each time anyone attends any of our programs that we normally have, they are able to get CPD points for that, for their professional growth. And then let me see. Yeah, if you want to buy the softwares, Genuine PC in Nairobi. Okay, you can talk to me. I can get you someone who will give you very good machines that can support what some of the requirements that we have. I cannot give you the name here, but just talk to us in the background and we'll be able to direct you. And then we have David. David is asking, I regularly have a FlexNet license finder error. How can I get around this? Okay, the FlexNet means you are using a network license and it's not able to see the license. So it depends. If you are using a network license, check with the provider if it was disconnected or not. If you're using an Autodesk visual license, then check if you're connected to internet, because the moment you connect to internet, it will pick the license where it left off. If you're using a crack, then yeah, your story becomes complicated a bit, but you can always check if the file is still there or it has been removed. You can always check, but I don't recommend. The cracks come with their own trade-off. Yeah. So if you're a student, I recommend, in fact, go out and spread this news to all the students, whether in campus or in high school or even in kindergarten, if you may, that they can access these softwares for free for as long as they are students, and they don't need to muddy their works in the crack industry. No, just tell them as long as they have that student identity card, they can access these softwares and get to practice as much as they can. Nice PC, you can talk to us. We'll direct you. Another. How long does the license last? I think I've answered that extensively. Yeah, the RIBA extension, no, but we'll think about it if it's necessary. If it's advised by the team that we give you for the training, yeah, we'll see how it's provided. When is the course starting? The team will clarify on that. Normally, we have two departments, the structural departments and the transportation department. And we have our classes at an offset. So there is no day you'll find that we are having a structural class on the same day when we are having a transportation class, whether it will be in civil 3D, road design, or maybe urban. So you always have them offset so that if you're taking one, you can always take the other. But it will take a strain on you. I'd recommend you just take one course at a time so that you fully appreciate the course and the value, you fully understand it, then you move to the next one. All right. And then are we going to use? Yes, you're going to model your structure in robot, and it will be explained why, and also you'll be able to do the analysis there. Yes, you can model in robot. You can also produce structural drawings with the robot, but they're not the best when it comes to industry standards and how information needs to be relayed at a construction site. You'll create a lot of confusion. So we normally advise you use Revit for that. It does a very wonderful job. And I know Engineering Timo will be able to take you through that, and you'll be able to appreciate which tool to use where and when. All right. Yeah, on the date it will be communicated officially. So after training, software expires. No, it depends with the license you're having, my guy. So if you're having a student license, if you're having a commercial license, depends. If you're having a crack, like I said, depends. It might be, you might even have it today and it expires today, or you might have it and it stays there for 10 years. It's not a guarantee. But for the official license that we have, when we issue to you, you'll have it for the entire the training period. We give you a grace period of 1 week, 1 to 2 weeks. Then after that, we'll have to give to the next colleague that is coming to learn with us because we don't have unlimited seats. We have a set number of seats, so we can always give out as much as we can. So once that's satisfied and we know that you're good, we'll transfer the license to the next guy so that they also get an opportunity to learn. Do you have a completion certificate? Yes, we do offer a certificate, but remember, you can have a certificate without the skill, it's useless. It's just a piece of paper, right? That certificate is is just a way of telling people that this is what I have behind my ears, between my 2 ears. And this is what I can show for the experience I've had with this guy. What's important for us is you being able to actually do the work. Are you able to actually do the analysis with the software and come up with very meaningful results that someone can appreciate? Then, when you are able to do that, we'll give you a certificate to show other people that indeed you can do this. But we'll not give you a certificate just because you attended, just because you showed up. Yeah. So we have regulations, and I think the team will be able to take you through during the kickoff on how we issue our certificates, what is the criteria. Usually 75 attendance, 75 deliverable submission. That should be good enough to get your certificate. Do you have the next cohort? Definitely, we'll have another one in the coming year, but for this year, this is the last one. Someone is asking me, what tell Autodesk about cohort? Our core business is to have you learn engineering skills. We are not the DCI for reporting you to the criminal, whatever. That's their job to do. Or if you want to report yourself, it's fine. But we won't get into that business of going to report you. You use whatever is palatable with you. You're good. I think those are the questions for me. I think I have a mechanical friend. This is very interesting. Who joined the group? Is there a software they can benefit from? I think I'll let our CEO talk to that question. Because we realize that we have a gap, especially in Kenya, where a civil engineer can readily get these softwares, or can readily get somewhere to learn these softwares as compared to our counterparts. And that's unfair. So we're looking into it. And so I don't want to make any promises, but yeah, for now, the short answer is no, because we only have architectural and softwares in the architectural, construction, and engineering. That is in the AEC, not in the plants, whatever. But if they're interested in the Autodesk for plant, NUP, MPE, maybe mechanical, electrical, and plumbing for Revit, that one, if they appreciate that, yeah, that we have. I don't know what else they can appreciate, but yeah, it's something that we are thinking about, and we'll make sure to accommodate them. Right. Is there another question for me? I think this will be my last. Okay, for your case, Engineer Charles, kindly talk to Engineer Gatimu and they'll be able, but you should be able to, if you had your credentials, right, the email that you gave us, you should be able to log in with that, whatever laptop or machine you have. Log in with that, you should be able to get the message. If it's not that or it has expired, then talk to us and we'll be able to assist you when necessary. I think that's it. Engineer Gatimu, you can take it up from here. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. And I look forward to seeing you in your programs and learning and growing with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Wes, for shedding light on the software, on our software needs, what we need to ensure we have so that we can start learning. So I won't take more time. I'd like to welcome Engineer James. Engineer, if you are in a position to unmute, please do.
All right, yes, I am in a position to speak. Please, if you're able to hear me, give me a 1 in the chat box. If you're able to hear me, please give me a 1 in the chat box. Give me a 1. Super. Thank you. Thank you very much, Eric. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. And most importantly, also, thank you for creating your time to join this meeting and, of course, our technical information session. This is an important session, and also you are very important to us. I'm actually on my way from some official assignment, so please, if you feel like I'm moving or breaking, apologies for that. You guys are so important to our community. I decided that I must at least come and say hi. So please receive my regards. I also want to thank Engineer Gatimo, Waithaka, and of course Engineer Wes for taking care of our people in a very, very honorable manner. So mine is just again to emphasize on something very important to all of you again, that as you make this decision, remember again, this is a skill that you could actually use for the rest of your lifetime. And I was today where I was, we were talking with some young professionals and I was telling them and bringing them to the awareness that they are the professionals, you are the same, which are actually within the same age bracket, that you are the professionals that you'll be serving our various nations and especially African nations that are currently at the development stage for the next almost 40 to 50 years. Like I'm going to be in the game for the next almost 50 years. So the question is, how are you preparing yourself to capitalize on that? How good are you? Technology is here with us. It's not going to be going anywhere. It's only going to be getting better and better and better. So this is your chance to prepare yourself for the future because the future is here with us. So those are some of the remarks and the kind of conversations that we have. while this is only but a course that is going to last for 5 weeks, I want you to think of it in 50 years. So you are learning in 5 weeks something that you could use in 50 years from today. The software, the technology will be evolving, but you will have gotten the fundamentals and the core fabric of what the skill is all about. And you will only keep getting better and better and better. So as you get into this program, my assurance and that of my team is we are here to serve you and to make this experience as fulfilling as possible. That you will learn everything and anything that you need for you to be a complete professional who can be able to deliver a structural project. I think Gatimo has done a fantastic job to showcase you what you're going to be doing. And that is exactly what you're going to be able to do. So as you make your bookings, as you make your decisions, there is no rush, there is no hurry. But remember, this is our last program for this year. Companies will be hiring in January and February, you know. Companies will be hiring. So how are you prepared? You know, how are you prepared? Companies also fire people at the end of the year, people that are not aligned with the kind of skills and the demands that the market has. So how are you prepared for that? Remember, when the fishermen are not in the ocean fishing, they spend time preparing their nets, knitting, preparing their hooks and their baits. So these trainings that you are doing here, whether you have a job or not, is you preparing your net so that when it is season to fish, then you get it. So if you have a job or you don't have a job, your role is to make sure that you have the requisite skills that the market requires. If you already have a job, your job is to sharpen yourself such that maybe you can get jobs or your task done faster. You can be more valuable to your employer, which means it's attracting more benefit. Better yet, you could get better opportunities and apply with the skills that you have. So those are my few ones. I'm going to be talking about the ultimate engineer philosophy later on when we have our kickoff session. And for now, I wish you all the best. For the payment, please make sure that you can book through our website for international payment. Gatimo, you can send the payment link here in the chat box. I will not be able to do that for now. So you can pay internationally. Use any bank card from wherever country you are. We'll process that for you and you'll be immediately be onboarded in the program. For those in Kenya, you can use M-Pesa Pay Bill. And for those in Uganda, Tanzania, you can be able to use Send Money. If you don't have a bank card, you can use a Send Money and you send money directly to Kenya. The program is $75 to be specific. It's going to be running for 5 weeks like you've told. If you're in Uganda, it is 300,000 Ugandan shilling. And if in Tanzania, it is 210,000 Kenyan shilling. Tanzanian shilling. So my brothers and sisters, I'm going to again say this. When the fishermen are not fishing, they spend time preparing their nets, their hooks, and their baits. Such is the way of the ultimate engineer. If you're not working, take this time to pre-sharpen your skills. If you're already working, make sure that you make yourself more valuable, and indispensable. Thank you so much, and hand it over back to Engineer Gatimo. Engineer Gatimo, please take it away. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer. Thank you so much for sharing with us. It's always an honor to hear from you. So thank you so much. So I will go back to the participants. Today is your session. I think we have spent most of the time talking. I think most of the talking has been done from RoadsUp. And as I said earlier on when we were starting the meeting, is that we like to listen to our participants. We are here to serve you. And if we cannot hear from you, get to understand some of the things that you're going through or the areas that you need assistance in, then we will not be able to serve you effectively. Okay, and that is not our goal. So I will do this. I will share my number in the chat box. if you need any clarifications with regards to the course after the meeting or tomorrow, just feel free to text me or call me. Then I will respond to you. Okay. So I've shared my number in the chat box. If you'd like to have say more information, or you just want to have a quick call, that is my number. So just feel free to call or text via WhatsApp, and I will be available for you. Okay. And as Engineer James has mentioned, the course starts on Monday. It's the last course for this year. So we would really like if you got to join us. And we are also currently installing, we are going to start installing the softwares for those who have registered. So it's just good you don't get left behind. So please join us. And we are looking forward to having a memorable journey with you. So thank you for joining us. And I'd love to adjourn the meeting at this point. Okay, so thank you and have a good night and a great weekend ahead.